Welcome to another episode of Inspire Wealth. I am your host, Mallory Meehan, aka Prof M, and I am joined with me by a young entrepreneur, Eric. Eric, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Honored to be here.
Great. Well, Eric, I want to start out by first getting to know you. Tell us a little bit about your journey and how you got into real estate.
Absolutely. My family came to America when I was a little kid, from Syria. Grew up in Boston. Uh, my family never had much money. My dad was a pastor, and we'd always like make ends meet. And I felt bad for my family. Like I always like wanted to help them. Um, I've always wanted to do well. I've always like been super passionate. And when I got to college, how I got into real estate was they were telling us like, hey, you should start looking for apartments like for the following year. Like after first year, you're not gonna be in the dorms anymore. And I was like, I don't want to waste my money on rent. What can I do? Like, how can I solve this problem? And I was like, what if I could buy a house? I don't know anything about real estate, but if I bought a house and I rented the other bedrooms, I could live for free. And I like looked into it and trying to like see what I can do. Don't have much money, but I was willing to figure it out. So I was looking for homes, found this house with a real estate agent. It was a 5 bedroom house and it had a garage. And I was like, I can turn this garage into 2 more bedrooms. And I knew college kids paid by the bedroom, so it'd be really advantageous for me to do that. It was a $500,000 house. I needed 5% down, and I borrowed the money from my friends actually because I didn't have the money. And I closed on that house, turned the garage into 2 bedrooms, rented out 6 of the bedrooms, lived in one of them, and I made about $1,000 a month. And I was like, this is the coolest thing in the world. I'm not working and I'm making money, and I have free rent. It was just incredible. I was like, I didn't even understand what was going on. I was like, this real estate thing is like truly amazing.
Yeah.
Um, I showed up to the house on a bike. I didn't even own a car. Like, I didn't know anything about real estate. That I can't even believe the real estate agent took me seriously. Um, yeah, like like just some 19-year-old kid. Like, who is this person gonna buy this house? Somehow it worked. It's really like a miracle how we even got the closing. I don't even know what an appraisal was. I didn't know what an inspection period was. Like, no idea what a purchase and sale agreement is. Like, so lucky the real estate agent just walked me through it, and it just somehow worked out. But that's how I got started. And then I sold that house and 2 years later and bought a 16 unit apartment building with a profit through a 1031, so I didn't have to pay taxes. And the real estate thing really started to go from there because I was like, this, I just got to keep going. I just need more of these. So I just kept buying and buying and buying, and I'm still buying today.
Amazing. I love that. The fact that you were able to then use a 1031 to buy a 16 unit apartment building is crazy. Love that. So,
Thank you.
do you have any particular strategy as far as the types of properties that you look for, or do you just kind of say if it's a good deal, it's for me?
No, 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 no. You need to be very specific. Like now, I've been doing this for like 4 years, and every day I just learn. And you're always learning. Like no one knows everything, and that's the beauty of life. You learn as you go. However, you don't just buy any deal. That's a big mistake. I see people lose money all the time, and some people don't understand that it's pretty easy to lose money in real estate. If you're going like with the multifamily side, management's everything, but also how you buy it. Like you make your money on the buy, so you can't just buy anything. Like it really needs to make money day one because if it's not making money day one, then you're paying for the mortgage, and that's a problem. Like a lot of people will buy like someone will send me a deal. Hey, here's this 30 unit building. It's 100% vacant or only 20% occupied. I'm like, I don't want that deal. It's not gonna make any money and I'm gonna lose on it. Like I'm gonna be fronting the mortgage on it. Like I don't want to pay the mortgage. I want my tenants to pay for the mortgage. Um, but yeah, like I'm very specific on how I buy my deals and what I look for. And over the years, I've gotten more refined on what I look for. And the better deals you buy, the safer you are.
Yeah, no, that's great. Now, could you walk me through your thought process? So if somebody were to pitch you a deal, what do you
Yeah,
generally look at and how do you analyze whether or not it's something that you would move forward with?
absolutely. It's a great question. I currently am only buying in Central Arkansas because that's where my team is. Um, I have a lot of resources. Like if I need an HVAC guy, like within seconds I can text somebody. If I need a plumber, within seconds. Um, I don't know. If you're getting into the game, you don't understand how important that is. Like having people, having contacts is so important. So if someone brought me a deal in like Alabama, I'd be like, I'm sorry, not today. Maybe like 5 years down the road, once I get like really big, I can start buying all over the country. But currently, I'm just buying in Central Arkansas. So number one, location. It's got to be in Central Arkansas. It's got to be in my market because it's really important also to know your market. If you're buying in some random city and you don't know what the rents are and you don't know like if the broker's lying to you or telling you the truth, like you're just screwed. Like the more you know, the safer you're going to be. It's just like being an expert in something. Like the more you know about the market, the better it's going to be. So I only buy in Central Arkansas right now. And also within Central Arkansas, there's certain areas where I buy and don't buy. So like I'll get the address and I'll look it up and I'll be like, is this in a good part of town or not good part of town? After that, I'll ask the occupancy. I'll ask for the rent roll and financials of the property, see how much it's making, what's the historic financials the past 2 years, what are the delinquencies. It's really important for it to have strong occupancy because if it doesn't have strong occupancy, it's not going to be making money and you're going to be paying for the mortgage. And I don't want to, your property should be self-sustaining. They need to carry themselves because if not, like once you get to a scale, like I don't make any money. Like my properties make money and that's how I pay for them. Like I don't like you don't want your job paying for these mortgages. That's not going to work. You're going to be in deep trouble. So occupancy is really important. Location is important. And I'm looking for a size because these deals take the same amount of time for a small deal or a big deal. If I buy one house or 10 units, it's the same difficulty of buying 50 units. It's also it's also one financial statement. So like every deal I buy, like I want to buy a bigger deal. So like it's just more work. Like it's still one closing, it's one due diligence, it's one location, one financial statement. So I'm looking for at least 30 units now, if not 50. So that's number three. Location, occupancy, cash flow, and number three is size. And it's got to be it's got to be what I'm buying. Like it's got to be multifamily. I'm not buying like an office building. I'm not buying a retail shopping center. I believe you got to get very specific in what you're buying. You got to get a clear path. You don't want to take a right turn, left turn. Like I'm not going to develop something. I'm not a builder. I'm not going to go start something brand new because that's how you get off track, and that's how you're potentially going to like lose or take a huge step back. So number four is like buying when I buy mobile home parks and apartment buildings, and I would say that's pretty four general things I look at.
Love it. No, that's great. So when you were buying your first deal, you said that you raised money from your friends, and then I'm assuming also then got financing through maybe a traditional bank. Can you walk me through the
Yes.
process of how you ended up structuring that and how you were able to um, talk your friends into helping invest into this $500,000 house as a 19-year-old? I think it's impressive.
So yeah, I just thankful for my friends. It wasn't like a structure like how I do my deals, how I done some of my deals with my investors. More like just like let me give me this money and I'm gonna give it back to you. Like it was kind of like I was begging for the money. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie. I was like, I need this money. I'm closing on this house. I need it. I'm gonna get it back to you. So it wasn't like, oh, you have ownership or whatever. I just borrowed it and I paid them back. It was really simple. How I got qualified for the property, it was like a single family. There's a bunch of these mortgage brokers, and I had my parents so thankfully they co-signed on it because they had W-2 jobs and I didn't have a job or anything like that. So I'm really grateful for that. And then so if someone's listening to this, they're gonna be like, my parents won't co-sign. There's always a solution. Let me tell you. Like if sorry, if your parents won't co-sign, there'll be someone who will. You gotta, because I want listeners to listen to this, like, oh, he's daddy's money, all this. No, like, if my parents didn't co-sign, you can always find someone who will do it with you. I do deals today. Sometimes the bank will be like, you're not. financially strong enough, or you have too much debt. Like they always have an excuse. People, there's always an excuse, and I want to encourage people, you can't stop there. Just solve the problem. Like whatever it is, ask people, figure it out. Like don't sit there and pound sand. Like there's always a solution. But how that one got done was my parents co-signed on the loan, and I borrowed the money from my friends. So
That's awesome. Were these the same friends that were living there with you?
one of them, one of them. Yeah, not the others.
Okay. So you started out at 19. Here we are 4 years later. What
Hmm.
does your current
Hmm.
portfolio look like? And how do you assess how long you're going to hold on to an asset before maybe, trading it up?
Currently I own 562 apartments. I believe it's like 17 buildings. And holding it, and these are all multifamily and mobile home parks. Mobile home parks are my favorite, by the way. People don't tell anybody, all right? But those are the
Keep
best.
it, keep it on the DL.
Apartments are kind of annoying. Yeah, keep on DL, but apartments are kind of hard. Um, Holding them, I want to hold these things forever, really. Long term. I'm not a flipper. Like I'm not at IHOP flipping burgers. I want to own these. These are assets. I want to accumulate as much assets as possible and just live off the little bit of drip every month, a little bit of cash flow every month. I probably make $100 to $200 a unit on my units. People think I'm like raking it in. Some months like I don't make money because like you got to put a new roof on a building or something. Um, like my average rent's $1,000, but at the end of the day, after you pay everybody, there's not much money left. Um, that's the reality of it. That's why a lot of people will flip. Like that, like the reason they're selling is because they're trying to make some money because they've been trying to fix the building the whole time. And multifamily, there's a lot of expenses. Like every single unit has an HVAC system, which is $5,000. Every single unit has flooring. There's a kitchen. Like there's always issues. Every single day we're spending money, and so I want to hold on these things as long as possible. I just want to grow my portfolio and just live off the cash flow.
I love that. No, that's great. Now, you also talked about the importance of having a network and having people that you can call. And I'm assuming you also have a property management company that is helping you manage all 500 plus assets.
Yeah, it's my own. Just news to everybody. Good luck to you if you can get a third party to do a good job. If you're super rich and you don't care about losing tens of thousands of dollars, you can go hire a property management company. But if you're just starting out and you're trying to make some money, you know, and not get walked all over, you gotta really hire your own people or do it yourself in the beginning. Like I did it myself until I had 100 units. And then I started hiring people. I have 6 managers that work for me full time, and there's about 8 maintenance guys that work for us by the job, continuously all the time. And I tried 2 different management companies, and I believe management companies work better on like Class A buildings. But, like when you're buying B and C affordable housing, like Section 8, $1,000 rents, I've just it's been really advantageous to have my own management company in house where it's me, then the property manager, then the tenant. It's like I'm very close to the property. Like I hear about almost everything, and it keeps expenses down tremendously. Like won't even believe. Like I probably save $50,000 a month, if not more, just doing it in house. It's because they just don't care about your money. Like I've learned this lesson twice the hard way, and it's absolutely brutal having a third party management company.
So your recommendation is to do your research, and if you aren't satisfied with how somebody else might do it yourself.
And and like build your own team. And especially if someone's starting up, they need to learn the business. How are they going to learn if they don't do it themselves in the beginning? Like especially if you're just like if you're a young guy like me, like under 30 and trying to get into real estate, like you should really manage your portfolio yourself so you can learn what's going on with the tenants and how to interact with them. Unless you're like extremely wealthy, and then you're probably not even listening to me right now. You're probably like doing something else. Like you're not trying to get into real estate, you know. But if you're listening to this and trying to get into real estate, I highly recommend you do it yourself because you need to learn the game, and then you can start hiring people. Like I don't believe in doing everything myself. I believe 80% done by someone else is 1000% awesome. But starting out, when like most people listen to this probably don't have much money, and losing tens of thousands of dollars is going to be vital for them. And I'm just looking to let them know, like, if you're going to hire a third party management company, like, they're going to be asking you to write checks all the time. So,
No, totally agree. I understand that. So there are a lot of pros with real estate. We could talk days on how beneficial real estate is. What have been some of the lessons that you have learned though on things that maybe you wish you would have known before, or lessons that you would want to tell others to try to avoid?
oh, so many. Third party management company is a big one. Okay, don't do that. Um, Especially if you're just starting out, if you're a small guy. If you're some massive 100 millionaire, sure, hire a third party. Number two, figure out what works for you. Okay, I don't do single family. I think it's too slow. I don't think it's scalable. I just don't even like it. There's too many problems with it. You got a maintenance guy and you got 100 homes. He's going to travel to 100 homes. You have a 100 unit building. He's just going to go to that one building and then knock them all out. Like, it's just a lot more efficient, in my opinion. Like, these buildings have scale. Single family homes don't have scale. So in this number two about figuring out what you're good at, like, don't, like, I'm not a builder. I don't build. So, like, figure out what you're good at. Like, I buy buildings that are occupied, that are making money day one. Like, you gotta know what you're good at. Like, don't try to do too many things. They call it specializing. Pick one thing and specialize on it and get really good at it, because that's what you'll do well. If you start doing a bunch of things like buying storage units, buying a retail, buying a single family, you're gonna spread too thin. And I made that mistake by building a mobile home park. I should have just kept buying mobile home parks. I've been building this mobile home park for over 2 years now. I've been losing uh, a $4,000 mortgage payment for the past 2 years on it because I've been trying to build this mobile home park and I'm not a builder. It's absolutely a nightmare. So now I know I don't build them. I'm not a builder. Building's for really smart people. Like, you build it and I'll buy it when you're done. Like, you lease it up, all that, then I'll buy it when it's all safe. So figuring out what you get at. Now I buy mobile home parks that are fully occupied or almost fully occupied, and I just will bring the rents to market. I'll see how to optimize the management. So yeah, number two, figure out what you're good at. That's a big mistake people make, I believe. I have a friend, he's like, every new day has a new idea. Like, every day he's trying to do something else. I'm like, dude, what's going on? Like, he wants to be a personal trainer, he wants to buy real estate, he wants to build furniture, like, he wants to be a bartender. Like, every day there's something new. I'm like, dude, what's going on? So I think it's really important to focus on one thing, especially when you're starting out.
No, I think that's really great advice. I think that shiny object syndrome is something that gets a lot of people where, they learn of something new and then they go down a rabbit hole and then they hear something else. And, that definitely can cause people from getting off track. So you talked a lot about mobile home parks. I'm interested in that, and I'm also interested in how you're finding these deals. Are these deals that are
Oh my
listed deals? Are these deals that you kind of reach out to owners directly, or how do you go about finding these opportunities?
God. It's so funny. People always ask me this deal thing. They're like, where do you get these deals? I'm like, there's so many deals. If someone's asking where they're getting deals, they're not even looking, okay, in my opinion. I have so many deals, I can't even buy all of them. The problem isn't where are the deals, it's getting the money to close the deal, in my opinion. My bottleneck in my business is getting the money from the bank to close the deal, getting approval from the bank to close the deal. That's my bottleneck. If I had banks lining up to give me money and close deals, oh my God, I would scale my portfolio so fast because I have so many deals. Where am I finding these deals? When I first started out, it was off like Zillow and LoopNet. And I still buy off there sometimes and like Crexy sometimes. But that led to like relationships with brokers and agents, and then them start bringing me off market deals. So if you're just starting out, call as many agents in your hometown or wherever you want to buy. Like, call 50 of them and call them once a month. Get lunch with them, talk to them. What do you say to these people? Hey, I'm a real estate investor. I'm trying to buy real estate, and here's my buy box. Give them a criteria on what you want to buy. Don't just say I want to buy some real estate. Get really specific. This is what I'm looking for. If you know if anything like this, like, let me know. Like, I'm a buyer. So that's what you need to say to them. And you'll have more deals coming to you than you can buy. I have so many. I have like a phone full of leads. I don't call. This is a big mistake a lot of people make. They'll call like owners themselves. I think that's a. I would say for me, it'd be a waste of time. Unless you're like friends with them already. But I'm not dialing landlords. I've never done that. Deals. There's just so many of them from agents bringing them to me. I don't call for them.
Love that. No, that's great. I think it's awesome when you can have the deals come to you versus you having to go out and do the deals. So I have a lot of eager young people that are looking to get into real estate and maybe just don't know what direction to go about. Maybe they saw one of their family members was in real estate, who did really well. What piece of advice would you give to them if they are interested in real estate and they're looking to kind of take that first step and they're in their early 20s?
It, it's a broad question because people like in real estate, they're like, oh, I tell people like, oh, I'm in real estate. They're like, oh, you sell houses. I'm like, yes, I sell houses. So the question is like, what's their goal? Like they gotta like get their goals down and like write them down. Like, what do you actually want to achieve? Like, what do you want out of life? Like write them down because getting into real estate is very, very broad. Like that could be wholesaling, that could be selling houses, that could be buying apartments, that could be leasing apartments, that could be managing it could be property management. Like you gotta first ask yourself, what do you want? Is it a money thing? Are you like trying to get a certain amount of money coming every month? And if that's true, like let's say you want 10 grand a month, reverse engineer it. I find that to be very helpful. Seeing what you need to do to get to that number, like track it back. Like how many, let's say, how many houses do you want to sell to get that number? Or how many properties do you want to own to get that number? Or how many properties do you want to manage and get a management fee to get that number? You got to get really specific. A lot of people that like, oh, I want to get started in real estate. Most of them don't get started because they don't get specific on what they want and they don't do the research to get into it. And honestly, they're not really ambitious to even get into it. It's really on them. Like they're not really putting the time and effort to really getting serious about it. They want someone to hold their hand. That's the biggest problem. They want someone to hold their hand and tell them exactly what to do. Like no one's gonna help you. I promise. Like all the information is out there on YouTube, and it's just waiting for you to take advantage of. But if the individual themselves isn't ambitious enough to go do it and actually take the time to teach themselves, then they're never going to get into real estate.
So it's that initiative that is going to set them apart, is what you're saying.
That's the biggest thing. My mentor would always tell me, it's like, yeah, your ambition is why like you're doing so well. The only difference between me and like the homeless guy on the side of the road is like he lacks ambition. Is what my mentor would always tell me. That's the difference.
Got it. So you have a mentor. Is this somebody you met along the way, or was this somebody who you got to know prior to getting into real estate?
Yeah. This is when I bought a 30 unit building and he was a seller and I took him out to dinner and then we became good friends. We'll go on, it's almost 3 years now since I know this guy. And I am so, so grateful I met this guy. He's like the smartest guy I've ever met. And you would never think so because he's a farmer and he wears overalls and he drives a $10,000 truck. And, but oh my goodness, like smartest guy ever. Like you bring me some sophisticated big time guy, he's smarter than him, I promise. Like there's never been a question he didn't have the answer to. And still today, I text this guy every day. Like we're good friends. And I just like so, so grateful. He's taught me so much. The information and knowledge is worth like so much money. It's not even like you can't even put it into a dollar amount. And absolutely, it's so important because you need there's a quote. It's like if you want to know the journey, ask people coming back. So he's like one of those people. He's been through it. It's so, so important to have like a mentor in your life. So, so important.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think it's really important, especially people who, are new to the game or who are trying to dive deeper into it. Finding people who've been there and done that are definitely great resources. So
Huge.
One of the
Huge.
last things that I usually ask my guests are, what books are you reading, or what kind of information are you gathering as far as your, your personal education, and what recommendations can you give to our listeners?
Yeah, this part's huge. It's like I love it. I'm like, literally addicted to it. But I found for myself, you're gonna find what works for you. But for myself, like books weren't working, but YouTube, like going to the guy's book and going to his YouTube and listening to him talk on YouTube because his actual voice instead of some like either actually reading it, it's so different. Like when you hear his voice talking on a YouTube channel, it's just so real, and you're like listening and engaged the whole time, and you're really taking in the information. So I'm always listening to like really successful people's YouTubes. Like Patrick Bet Dan Martell, Pace Morby, Grant Cardone, all these guys, Ed Milet, Tony Robbins. Like I go to their YouTube and I watch all their videos. And I mean not all of them, but I try. And I like listen to at least one a day. And it's really, really incredible. I tried the books and I don't know, it just doesn't process. The information doesn't process for me. I'm dyslexic. So one, I can't really read well. And two, when I listen to the audiobooks, it's usually not them speaking. So it'd be like some like automated talker, and wouldn't even be able to listen to it. It wouldn't like I wouldn't stay focused. But yeah, it is so important. It's really like the biggest hack. Going on YouTube and listening to these people's information for free is absolutely insane.
Yeah, no, I think it's a great resource to definitely dive into, and one that, definitely helps people get past that hurdle. So, Arek, what's next? What's your, let's say your 3-year goal? What do you think is the future for you?
Oh, I have big goals. They're like kind of scary.
Let's hear it.
Um, I have 1 year plan and a 5 year plan, a 10 year plan, and it just keeps going. So 1 year plan, I want 1,000 apartments, which would be about $100 million in real estate. Um, a bunch of little ones in there too, but yeah, I want to buy my parents a house in the next year, like a big house. Um, I like love my family. I send them money every single month. Um,
That's awesome.
and in 5 years, I want to own a bank. Yeah, in 5 years, I want to own a bank. Banks is like the best business. Okay, doing real estate is a lot of work, and yeah, but if you own a bank, you're making money off everybody and doing no work. It's literally the best business. It's so scalable. It's crazy how like the banks make all the money. They make so much money off me. Like every month, I'm pretty much just a glorified property manager for the bank. So banking's incredible. I want to own a bank. I want to own an insurance company. I think insurance companies are a racket. They just take my money and don't like they don't even pay out. It's crazy. So own an insurance company too, and then yeah, in 5 years, hopefully I'll have 5,000 apartments. Um, and what else? And then in 10 years, I want to be married with lots of kids, beautiful wife, beautiful family. Um, I'm a Christian, so giving tons of money to the church. I'm a big family man. Um, and hopefully making like a big difference in the world. I really want to make an impact. Start like some kind of foundation and give back. Like all my money will go to the church when I die. It's not going to my kids. They won't get a dollar because I don't want them to be spoiled. Um, so yeah, I really want to make a difference. I believe we're here to like really like do stuff to create and to help people. Like Tony Robbins, I look up to him so much. Like like he's trying to solve world hunger. Like he's doing some big stuff. Like he gave over 1 billion meals to people, and now he's trying to give 100 billion meals. Like he's literally trying to solve world hunger. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's great.
So I look up to guys like that who are like really making a difference, and he's doing it while running like a massive business. Like he does $7 billion a year in revenue, which is like I don't even know anyone bigger than that really. So I look up to guys like that. Like that's who I want to be, to really make a difference, and use money for the good.
Well, that's great. I think that's a awesome way to leave this episode. And Arek, good luck to you. I will be excited to follow your journey. And how can people also follow you and maybe see what you're up to?
All my social media platforms, I post once a day. Arek Real Estate is my username for all of them. And I post content every day, like advice every day.
Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time on the Inspire Wealth podcast.